welcome to the K-Fic Cafe. My name is JT.
And my name is Jay.
We are your host for the K-Fic Cafe writing podcast series. Um, wow, dude, it's number 11. Can you believe it? 11.
I know, right? 1-1.
We're about, all right, guys, next milestone, 25. Let's get to 25. All right, let's go. Before we get started, shout out to Bella. Yesterday, I was walking around for about 30 minutes, and Bella just got me some company on the Discord server, and we just talked for about 30 minutes and a little longer after that. It was a lot of fun, super cool. Probably we're gonna do a voice chat thing with everybody on the server, so we can all hear each other and talk to one another for funs. But yeah, shout out to Bella. Anywho, we are going to be talking about point of view, or POV as it is abbreviated. And so the quote we chose is by Wayne Dyer, who is a American self-help author and motivational speaker. So he wrote books like The Power of Intention, Wishes Fulfilled, and other kind. Self-help author. And he said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, thinking about this in terms of point of view, this is very important. If we're looking at it from the perspective of one character, it's going to be much different than the way we look at it from another character's point of view. If we take, for example, Jay or me, we both have very, very different ethnic and cultural backgrounds. And so the way we will look at the world will be through very different lenses because the way we perceive things are based off of our experiences and what we know and what we believe. So point of view is very important because you will get a very different story than another person just because they are different people. And this just is applicable to everybody in the world as well. So point of view, what is it? It is how it is spelled, point of view. It is from the point of view of a specific character. In a literal setting, there are 4 different types: first, second, third. I say in literature there are 3, but I say 4 because third can be split up into 2 more: limited and omniscient. And we are just going to go through each one and just talk about it. I guess I would just describe what each one is. First person, you talk from the perspective of the main character or the narrator. So you're going to use I, me. It's going to be centered around whoever the character is that is I. So they're going to be telling it from that person's perspective. Second one tends to use you, yours. It's directed at the reader most of the time. So this is interactive storybooks, those kind of stories. So they're going to use you said this rather than I said or she said. In third person, you'll see this a lot more in literature, is from the perspective of a third body, which is like not real necessarily the main character or the other character or the reader, but it's kind of like a disembodied observer who's just kind of like watching them as it happens. You can think of it as when you're watching a movie, it's not from the perspective, your experience watching a movie, it isn't from the perspective of Tony Stark in particular or Peter Parker, but it's from your own perspective as you're watching the scene unfold. And so there are 2 types, as I said, limited and omniscient. Limited is third person, except you're watching and you're only aware of one individual. So it's kind of like a mix of first and third person in a way. So I'm watching from a third person point of view. So the main character will be addressed by he, she, he did this, she did this, whatever it is. But you will be aware of that person's internal thought process. What are they thinking? What do they feel at this particular moment? Whereas omniscient is like that, but you expand it to all the characters. You know what all the characters are thinking. You know what all the characters are feeling, given that you single them out, of course. And I mean, there is no right or wrong way, but there are ways that do, in my opinion, they do appear or feel more attractive, or it's just easier to read in that way. for me, I personally like third person, and I kind of dabble a little bit somewhere in between limited and omniscient. I'm not limited to just one person, but I'm not aware of everyone's feelings. Maybe I select one or two, but more third person limited. On Wattpad, I don't think there's a lot of second person, so we tend to skip over those unless it's like an interactive storybook because it's not directed at you, the reader. Um, it's mostly first and third. You want to say
Reno
something?
Varentis, one one or if not all, like his its readers, he tends to write them in second person because
Yes,
he'll
but that
say you a lot.
I have to go back and reread his stuff. My lord, it's been a
Come
while.
on.
But yeah, I think in the terms of one shots or reader inserts, yes, ish.
It's iffy.
It just
Depends.
second point of view just sounds very just sounds weird to me. It just doesn't sit right with me unless it's an interactive storybook because using second person in the sense of like a one shot series, it's just I have no control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get to choose. It's not special to me in a way, you know. Um, I do see this isn't really about the four types anymore, but it's like people like to do this thing. Technically, it is called head hopping, which is when you step out of the point of view of the character that it's been written in, and then you jump into another character's head in the same scene or same chapter, you know? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
called head hopping. Um, my advice is don't do so much of it because then so that way it's like you have let's say it's a give me a scene. They're
Uh,
driving to the grocery store, let's say something like that, I don't know.
okay,
And so
okay.
let's say the main character, I'll call him, we're going to just say MC for short. So MC is driving with their friend to the grocery store. I don't want to have a head hop into their friend sitting in shotgun. So the MC is driving to the grocery store, they get there, and then you change the point of view to the friend's point of view, and then you do the scene again from their point of view. It's just boring. I already
Mm-hmm.
know what happens. I really don't care unless if they're what they're thinking or what they're feeling at the moment is important, then you shouldn't do it from the main character's perspective. You should just straight out do it from that person's perspective. And I personally try to avoid switching perspectives. If I can keep it focused on one character the entire way through, I think that is the way it should go. There was the quote that we used once a long time ago. It was something like, plot is the footsteps that your characters leave in the snow on their way to another destination or something like that. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But it should, to me, it feels like it needs to be something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to follow this character, but if you jump all over the place, you'll eventually lose the reader, and then that's what disconnects, and it's not good in the
Mm-hmm.
long haul. So if you do want to do a point of view change, don't do a lot of them, and if you do, do it in the next scene and continue through the next scene. Don't repeat the scene again because I already had the scene. And if that other character's point of view is most important, pick the most important one. Which one do you really want to get across? Just do the scene once.
Once, please, please stop.
Yes, please, please, please. What about you, Jay?
Personally, I would like to say I kind of like you. I like reading third person limited because with first person, there's a lot of I did this, I did that, I thought this, I thought that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a over like you can still use first person, but there are ways to jump. It's ways to like not fall in that hole to constantly saying I. Like it doesn't always have to
Yeah.
be I da 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 da. There are different words you can use. But for me, it would be third person limited because I'm in somebody's perspective. I am connecting with this character and I'm experiencing the world in their eyes without feeling too limited to them.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I write my characters too, because that is what you're doing. You're stepping into the shoes of another person. You're seeing things like as if you were there, watching the scene for yourself, like you're
Mm-hmm.
actually there. And that's what makes, I think, that's what makes third person um, so like attractive, why it's so well used. First person, I also agree. You'll find in formal writing, so like essays or research papers, you cannot use I. My teacher hates it whenever you use I, because like I believe all English teachers hate that sentence. It's just
They
like,
do.
no, please, because it's not about you. They don't care about you. They want to know the essay. They want to know your topic. That may have that came out wrong, but just like the focus isn't you. The focus
Yeah.
is not you. So saying I did this, I did that, it just sounds very egotistic. Like it's all about me, you know.
Hmm.
And so, um,
Yeah, like,
I
I
don't
did
know.
some research on it because when I was thinking about writing another story, um, I looked at like maybe I should do it in first person since he's the most important character, and I was to do third person limited. It's like it kind of felt off to me, so I did some research, and it was like that's one of the main problems with using first person. There's a lot of usages of I, and it
Mm-hmm.
makes your character sound so
Mm-hmm.
egotistical, egocentric,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
and it's not really an attractive thing. So contrary to using first person, the best option would be third person limited.
Mm-hmm.
And with third person limited, it's like you're okay. So yes, you're limited to one character's senses. You see what they see, hear what they hear. You probably don't taste what they taste because that's just weird. But but you
If it's first
basically.
person, then maybe, or second, even second person,
Mm-hmm,
maybe, but rarely third person, unless like the actual sense of tasting is important, which
mm-hmm.
rarely it is.
It tastes like strawberries on the midnight moon.
Oh, poetry. No. It actually reminds me of another topic. I don't know if we're going to cover this in the future, but it's a pet peeve of mine. And probably we should save it for the pet peeve episode. But it's the thing where they tell you too much in the point of view of a character. Like
Mm,
I'm not talking about like essay chunks or like block text, but I mean like talking or including things in the story that I really could care less about. For example, that being, um, let's see, going to buy food. Unless it's important to the plot, I really don't care about whether the characters go out and buy food or go to a restaurant and eat, or they go to McDonald's and they ordered this and they ordered that and they go somewhere and they eat it. Unless it's central to the plot, don't include that because I really don't care. You can hint at it, just like, um, dang, Mark is going to call me out for this on the Discord server. I know it, but in Art of the Con, in chapter 2, what happens is there's a time skip. I could have pulled that one off better now that I rethink it. And let's see, what happened? Dang, I haven't read my story in a long while. Maybe I should reread it.
which part? Which part? Because I
It's the
remember like the
part,
back of my hand.
it was when they were kind of revealing, like, when the reader inserts, like, about to explain what his big idea was,
Mm-hmm.
robbing the place. And what I insinuated was the most important part about that scene was I'm letting you know where is this book headed toward, because they're con artists, but you don't know exactly what are they going to do next, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm introducing the idea. It's the main reader insert introducing the idea of the of the heist, right? Um, and Jonghyun, while he's explaining it, she is eating. I think it was tteokbokki. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't remember,
With her
but
slender fingers.
Yeah, the rice cakes. But anyway, she's eating them. But I never say, "Oh, Jonghyun left the house and she went to the nearby, um, I don't know, farmers market." I don't know. I'm just saying the first thing that kind of comes to mind. But you know what I'm saying? Like she went out to the market. She went and bought tteokbokki, and then or she bought it from the nearby vendor or street food site or whatever. You know, it's just like I no, I don't care that she's getting this food. Okay, the point is she got the food and now she's talking. The food is secondary. She's eating the food while he's talking, and that is just, I'm adding flavor to the scene because
Literally.
that is what I'm adding, like, more imagery. She is eating something while he's explaining. I don't care. I really don't think it's important that how she got the food. It's you clearly know she didn't magically make it appear. You know, logically, she went out and bought it, and then she came back, and also, and you just know that she should. Okay, you get what I mean, right?
I got you.
Yeah, it's you. I believe the readers are smart enough to make that connection by themselves, and that's another topic we can save for a podcast another day, about how to adjust our readers. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I trust that the readers are smart enough to understand, to figure it out on your own and
Mm-hmm.
logically put it together. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a team effort. Team effort, bro.
Dream team. Now, you mentioned head hopping earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and with me being a beginner writer, because I'm not a bestseller. I don't have a Nobel Peace Prize. Like we're big
Pulitzer
we're
Award.
beginners. We're learning. It is
Preach.
so easy to head hop. Like you just don't
Oh yeah.
understand. Like you do it so it's like it becomes second nature that you don't even realize it until somebody else reads it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I started doing is, which you probably shouldn't do because you'll lose interest in your writing fast, is like as you type in a sentence, if it involves another character, I look in there and I make sure it doesn't involve too much of that character. Like it's something that the person's point of view who you're in, I have a hard time explaining this, but I make
Words.
sure that the
The
person's point of
bane
view
of
that
a
you are
writer.
in, the point of view that you are in receives the information. Like, okay, example, let's go back to John Young eating the tteokbokki. I
Yeah,
cannot
sure.
pronounce that for the life of
It's
me.
it's like tteokbokki.
Tteokbokki.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, this
If
is
you're
what this is
Korean and
what.
you're listening to this, please
Yeah,
give
please
us
don't.
like
Please.
like have a written pronunciation in English for us so we can not butcher it.
But say that she's eating it. It would
Mm-hmm.
be head hopping if, like, it was to say that she hummed or she, let's say, moaned to the whatever. I don't know what it tastes like, but assume that it's. Let's just assume that it's a salty taste. Okay, let's just assume it's a salty taste. Like she moaned at the taste of the
Salty
salty
goodness.
ingredients and yeah, salty goodness and stuff like that. But with Articon's point of view, really following the MC, how it tasted to her doesn't matter. We don't care. Just like how you said, we don't care if she went to like a restaurant or a vendor to get it. It's like it's not
IHOP.
important. I was really about to say McDonald's. So like, bro, McDonald's sold that. It's over.
Yeah. The Szechuan sauce. Yeah. So it's that's what kind of like the K-Fic Cafe is also here for. We're here to help catch the little smidges, the little small details that you don't really pay attention to, but it does make a big difference in terms of continuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm thinking in this story, I'm like lightly limited because I'm kind of splitting between two characters, and I'm focused more on one character. But sometimes I'll talk about like the feelings and the thoughts of another character. But it's mostly just those two, and you have to know it's whatever feels right to you,
Mm-hmm.
because whatever feels right to you, you will instinctively and naturally want to write that way. If you try to force yourself any other way, your brain unconsciously, when you write, you might accidentally just transition back and then you'll not catch it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what beta readers are here for. That's what we're here for, proofreaders and all that.
I'm a potato.
Yeah.
I just thought of something though. Um, with the whole point of view thing. So I thought about, how the BTS universe, it follows how, well, at least back in the day, it followed how Jin had to continuously go back in time to save the members and everything.
Wait, what is this?
This is the BTS universe. Like, I I
I'm not familiar.
understand.
That I'm
I'm
not
saying
that
I
familiar
understand why
with.
you're not familiar,
That's my
but
sister's domain.
but it's basically that Jin's constantly going back in time, trying to save all the members for reasons that I never really understood, and that's a good example of third person limited because although he's going back in time and you're following him, you're seeing the world in his eyes. Oh, I can't English. You are seeing the world in his eyes. You're also still seeing these other characters, how he's interacting with them. And there are more scenes where he's alone versus when they're alone. So I feel like that'd be a good example for you, army out there. I see y'all. I'm here for you. I looked on the link that was in the drive, and it was like decide uh, which point of view makes most sense for your story. So we can talk about like which point of like how to decide which point of view is good for you.
I mean, it's also a bit of what comes naturally to you because your brain, given that you read a lot, because like when I was little, I read a lot of fantasy and supernatural and all that kind of stuff, fictional
Mm-hmm.
stories. You eventually, when you read enough stories, and I think this only applies to really English speakers, for now at least, when you read a story and it's read in a certain way, you know, it could be past tense, present tense, or different point of views, your brain unconsciously, you're filtering it, you're categorizing it, you're figuring out what do these have in common, you know? And so eventually, this isn't the best life advice, but trust your gut because your gut is your brain considering all these unconscious decisions and saying, I think it's this. Because and that's what your gut essentially is. It's your brain rapidly, because the brain is such an amazing, complicated machine. And it just calculates all these and it goes, I think it's this. It might be wrong, of course, but given everything, if you don't have any like physical evidence to fall back on, trust your gut because sometimes it is actually right.
Mm.
Um, so for me, I like past tense and third person. And it depends on the story in terms of omnisciency and all that. Um, but it's what is one your style, two it needs to fit with this your book. And you said you've read something about that?
Yes. Wait. What?
About it, like it needs to be the right style of your book.
Oh yeah. I think I told you about it a little while ago too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it depends on what's the story about, and that really decides what kind of style you should be putting in. Say that this is the story, right? Okay, give me a random story idea. I'm trying to make it work.
Did you want a character or a plot?
A plot.
Oh, plot. Let's go with child discovers she's a child of fairies. She's adopted. No one told her because her fairy subconscious made her um, fit into that circumstance. I guess that's also a character, but in a way, I guess you could spin it into a plot.
Okay, so child finds out she's part of a fairy. She was adopted. Da, 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 da. Okay, so here's how you should look at it, and this works for like almost every idea. Okay, now it's a story about her discovering her powers and having to keep them like under
How to
wraps.
live with them. How to live
Yeah,
with them.
yeah.
Because especially with like superhero stories, it's how do you live with it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you control it?
Mm-hmm.
And what do I use it for?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
And
Peter
it also
Parker,
could go
great
into
powers,
like
great responsibility.
that could really go into like another topic. Sometimes like deciding where to start your story as well. So like
Oh yeah.
to start before. I mean, in this case, it would start before she discovers her power, so she's just not discovering it.
Mm-hmm.
But for other stories, it could be she already knows she has powers and she's using them for something else. Then that'd be a good chance to throw in an antagonist too. So now
Mm-hmm.
she has like a reason to use said powers. It could be about have you mentioned before keeping it under wraps from her family, and her family finds out. Like there's different ways you can go about it,
Yeah.
and
Point of view can
separating them and stuff helps.
yeah, point of view can influence how the story starts, how
Mm-hmm.
this and just like how you tell the story.
Yes.
Um so like you I try to stay away from flashbacks as much as I can unless it's
Mm-hmm.
like absolutely critical.
Mm-hmm.
So when you tell your story, it has to start like what is the whole story based upon, You know, like what central event is the whole story based upon? So like in the Hunger Games, the center of the story is the arena. So you need to have series of events that lead up to the arena
Mhm.
and a series of events after the arena. And because it kind of falls under the hero's journey, um, your main character you have to establish what is the normal life for that character. What
Mhm.
are they about to leave? What is going to change? Why does this all happen to them? That's why you see a lot of like superhero stories. They used to just normal kids in school or something, but then something happens, and
Mhm.
now they have to take responsibility for their abilities
Mhm.
and own up to them. You know.
Mhm.
Oh, God, I
That
want to
also
keep it.
helps with now with flashbacks. I agree with what you were saying. Like sometimes people use up excessively, but
Mhm.
what I believe the best time to use a flashback would be kind of as a trigger. Like for
It also
instance,
needs to lead up into the flashback
yeah,
in a way. It can't. Don't
yeah.
make it
Don't
sudden.
just throw it in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We get
Um,
confused.
Again, Mark's gonna bash me for this, but Art of the Con, I included I included a flashback of where Sana, a bit of a spoiler, but Sana returns
Mhm.
and Dahyun says something like, "Wait, but how'd you get out?" You know, I have asked this question, now I got to answer it, and without so again, show don't tell. I'm not gonna have Sana tell her, even though that's what she's doing. I'm going to show you, the reader, what happened. And so I kind of have a page separator, I think, and I started a bit of a flashback. And then the next chapter was a complete flashback. It's a continuation of the flashback in the previous chapter, and it continues to the end. And then I have a clear end of that sub story.
Mhm.
Like, and then it's just she she feels like the giddiness in herself as she runs down the side of the road in the underbrush or whatever. But at that point, you feel there's a sense of closure to that story. You now know the answer to your question. How did she get out? Well, I just showed you. I just told you how she did it. I showed you how she did it.
Mhm.
I think that's about it for now.
Yeah, that
Yeah?
was fun. Yeah,
Man, I thought point of view.
it's really short.
It's
It's a
in
lot shorter than I
a lot of
thought.
these topics, you can get very deep into it, or you can just shallowly kind of glide over it. And that's, I guess, the fun part about writing is looking at these certain aspects and just thinking about them aloud, discussing them with one another. When me and Jay, when we talk, we're learning more about each other, and we learn more about writing just from talking to one another. Because I think the biggest part about writing is being able to ask and answer the right questions. And that's what
Mhm.
that's what the K-Fic Cafe is here for. We're here to ask you the right questions to help you move forward and create something foundational and solid and just overall amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So quick, good vibes for me. I'm done with my first wave of midterms. Still have a lot of homework for STEM classes. Yikes. Um, but music history is a lot of fun. We're starting to get into classical era, so Mozart and all that. Late 1700s, early 1800s. Yeah.
I remember I said music appreciation. It was a lot better than I thought it'd be.
Hmm.
Like I heard some slaps. Mozart, he got some slaps. that,
You did. Preach.
that was a little bit of my slang in there. um, good vibe for me. Well, I got 2 weeks left until. See, my school is on a term, kind of thing instead of a semester. So it's like 9 weeks. So it's 9 weeks here, 9 weeks there, 9 weeks, 9 weeks, etc. So I
Uh,
currently have 2 weeks left before I enter my final term in my community college and get my associate's degree.
a
I still don't
a
know what to do with life though.
right, dude. Right. Be an
It's
author.
hard out here
It's a hard not life.
for us.
Yeah. My school ends in around Thanksgiving break, around Thanksgiving, so I can't wait. All right. As always, like, comment, subscribe. You can donate to us through Anchor. There will be a link in the description below which you can click on. Just send it to us directly. We also have a Venmo. If you go to our website, you can send us money. I believe on the Anchor one, you can send us $1, $5, $10 monthly subscription. And I mean, honestly, $1 is sufficient enough. We just want to build up funds so we're able to do more fun stuff with you, the listeners, do a giveaway or something special for you guys. Right now, we don't have much because we're just college students, but we want to do stuff for you guys. Have fun. That being said, we're also considering doing like a Patreon or some kind of special membership with YouTube, in which you maybe a monthly subscription of, I don't know, we don't plan on making it too much, $1, $2, $5, but depending on how much you pay, maybe we'll give you access to, we'll do react videos, we'll show you our faces, we'll share more details about our lives, where we live, what college we go to, I don't know. We'll do vlogs. I don't know, we'll post videos of ourselves doing the stuff that we do, and stuff that makes us special. For one, maybe I have to write a musical analysis podcast for music history class for our final project. So maybe I'll put that in our Patreon or something. But yeah, hope you guys can help chip in.
And you do. I've already started recording some dance covers, really just the point movements. So once I get back into dancing like I used to, I'll record one, give it to you guys as a gift.
COVID-19, let's go. Yeah, maybe I'll record, if I find time, I'll record maybe some cello stuff that I'm currently working on. Yeah. What kind of cover, or what are you dancing to?
Right now I usually do boy groups, but I never would shut down girl groups. Like I'm trying to learn how you like that,
Ah.
and it hurts. My pride hurts.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
It is.
Yeah. Not like anybody would know, but I'm currently working on the Suite Popularis by Emmanuel de Falla for cello. So beautiful.
I've always envied cello players, like anybody who could play string instruments really well. Cause like how when I play my guitar, I'm like going through the phases. My head hurts looking back and forth.
Should I tell you a secret?
Sure.
You just do it a lot. Dude, 13 years. It's just, you do it a lot and it's just second nature.
Did y'all hear that? He's sassing me. He's sassing me.
Nah, I guess the biggest one is perseverance and persevering for a long time, because from 6-year-old to now, it's been a struggle, but it's been a fun struggle.
Fun struggle.
Fun struggle. Fun struggle, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by the K-Fic Cafe. We're your host, Jay.
And JT.
And we hope to see you all next week. Hopefully, college doesn't hit us in the head.
And join our Discord server and we can talk to you.
Yeah, and I plan on being active on the Discord server a little bit more now that I'm in the closings of this term. So I hope to see you guys in the Discord server.
Yeah,
JT
Got No Jams and I are on pretty often, and because we're in different time zones, we can cover each other. So like during the night, one is asleep, but the other one just wakes up when when the other's about to go to sleep. Yeah. So yeah, join. It's a lot of fun. We talk about weird, crazy stuff aside from writing. But it's always fun to touch back on writing and do a lot of other fun stuff. We have a meme page. We have a discussion page. We're going to discuss some of the some writing master classes or stuff like that. But yikes. Yeah.
Well, we hope to see you all again. Adios.
Yeah. Hope to talk to you. Please comment in the comment below if you're able, what you think about point of view and what's your take on it. Talk to us. Share with us.
Talk to us. We need friends.
If you can, comment below. What do you think about point of view? And what's your take? Comment below. Share with us. Talk with us. Discuss with us. We could have a discussion in the YouTube comments below, or whatever commenting section this is. Send us an email about what you want, or talk to us. We'd love to talk to you. Okay, goodbye.